Hi, I'm here about a minute early, and I'm just going to talk for a little bit to see if anybody can hear me or see me. In fact, I might try plugging in. I don't know if I should plug in headphones. Let me know if you can hear me or see me with headphones on. If not, I'll take them out. And I'm just doing a tech check here. I'll get started in just a moment. Uh, okay, can you hear me okay, Kelly, Latanya? I can take the headphones out if you can, if the audio isn't very good. Okay, great. Yeah, just so you know, hi, Kirsten Lovett here. Um, Let me know if you have any problems with the audio or video or whatever. Um, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Latanya, for letting me do this. And just so you know, on the comments here, I can see your comments coming in. Most people are just going to say Facebook user. So if you ask me a question, like card wise, like a reading wise, maybe just put your name down because I don't have any way of knowing what your name is unless you're either Kelly or, another admin of the group. I'll see the admins of the group, but everyone else, I won't know your name. So, sorry. um, Let me just I've got two or three decks here and I'm super excited to be here with you all, and thank you again, Latanya. And I just wanted to kind of go through just what I've been doing over the last, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years, really quickly, so you get kind of an idea of where I'm coming from with tarot and stuff and with oracle cards. Um, so basically, myself and Merissa Lovett have a Patreon called Shamanic Earth Medicine. And since about 2017, 2018, we've had it for about 5 years. And we teach and do ritual ceremony and video content, training people, and also doing actual ceremonial content so that we can all participate in group ceremony via Zoom, of course, or via online, uh, meetups and stuff. Um, and there's a variety of topics we talk about, but I'm just going to name some topics we talk about over there and educate about in for the both of us. Shamanic journeying, so sacred tobacco, which is an area I both of us know about, but it's an area I tend to gravitate to quite a bit, which is in the grander topic of plant spirit medicine, or plant spirit relationship, really, which is what I think I enjoy the most teaching people about. Also, animal spirits, stone spirits. These are three themes I've been dealing with a lot the last 2 years. Um, and so those relationships, because these are spirits we're talking about, so trying to develop ways of doing the various things that a lot of you already know about, which is protection and reciprocity and maybe offerings, or uh, sometimes divination comes up, which is pretty much what I'm going to be doing cards in just a few minutes with you guys. So be thinking of if you have a question, feel free to ask me one. But getting back to what we do at the Patreon, it's a little more geared in like shamanic tools, but we do the occasional tarot thing here and there, or we do, it's not just shamanism, it's also animism. And because we're in a variety of different areas, uh, enveloping Nordic uh, principles, what you would associate with Nordic, Northern European. Also, Merissa and I are both familiar with Andean mysticism, and so we may not specifically teach those concepts, I should say those traditions, but we teach the concepts. So at the bottom of everything we do is some kind of traditional concept enveloped in the wisdom. So just to move on to some other things, yeah, I mentioned I'm very sacred tobacco is kind of like my go-to because that's kind of how I got into. It was kind of a liaison segue between my initiation in Peru and coming back to the United States, and so sacred tobacco is kind of in the mix behind everything, as well as various other sacred relationships I have with medicine objects and whatnot, but as well as ancestral objects. I'm also, besides these areas I've been talking about, I'm also learning and have been learning for a couple years. I guess what some people call it Nordic animism or Nordic heathenry, ritualism. This envelops a lot of areas. So I think the areas that I enjoy the most so far learning about are Sather and runes. And so far, I haven't gotten to the point where I can cast runes yet, like application wise, but I know the Elder Futhark pretty well, and I use that with candles. I forgot to mention candles. Candles comes up even in the Patreon too. I have a candle ceremony that I kind of developed over the years, and also weather shamanism, and that also ties into a little bit into the Nordic pantheon, if you will. And also, I'm a student, although I can't really teach it right now, of Nepali shamanism, and Merissa is as well. So there's a variety of different countries and places that that kind of, they don't dictate, but they certainly create a foundation that I can build off of, and the spirit relationships are very important in that, trying to keep that up. And where the tarot comes in is, what's really cool about tarot is I've been, I used to do it quite a bit. I started in the mid 90s, but I really started seriously, like studying it for real in 2007. So that was about 15, 16 years ago. And then I kind of took a break from it for a long time while I was doing all this stuff that I've been doing the last 10 years or so. And now I've decided to kind of bring it back into the forefront and, kind of work it in with the animal spirits and the plant spirits, and, kind of make it kind of fit in with the cosmology that I'm used to dealing with. And I think it makes it a little bit more broad-based, I guess, or earth-based. It's still tarot and it's still oracle cards, but let me look at your comments right quick here, and then I'll show you the decks, and we'll get into, like, if you guys have any readings or anything that you want me to do. Sorry, I need to slow down. Somebody said, I need to have a talk with my husband, and I need to confront him on something, scared as to how he will respond. Oh, okay, so you do have a question. All right. Whoever asked that, do you mind? I don't have your name, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do your reading first, okay? About your husband and the talk that you need to confront him with, okay? What I'm going to do is, before I do that, is, what I do? Before I do that, what I want to do is light some incense, and then I'm going to show you the decks right quick. And, oh, okay, Kelly. Okay, sorry. And then Merissa has one too. Okay. Oh, thank you. Cool. Hopefully I'll still see this. All right. Yeah, I want to show you the 3 decks so that you guys can, I've got 1 tarot deck and I've got 2 oracle decks. and I'm sure you'll probably recognize all of them. So what I'm doing is lighting some juniper, which both Merissa and I use every day, and it's so awesome. Kelly was also talking about, Latanya was also talking about what kinds of incense do you like, and juniper's good. Of course, sage in sparing amounts. We have to always be, mindful of the endangered aspect of some of these plants. But if as long as you're not burning like 8 cartons a day. Most of us don't. We use little tiny pieces like this. So this is juniper, and of course Palo Santo, wonderful. Lots of wonderful. There's so many other incenses that we could go through. That's like, I'm sure all of you guys know that stuff. Yes, juniper is awesome, used by many, many cultures and not endangered yet. Thankful, I know, right? So, I mean, at least we have one for, thank God. And we still use Palo Santo in the house. We were just talking the other day. We used it, Merissa and I. I'd say we go through one stick probably every 8 months, maybe. So that's like really nothing, and that's not even like a quarter of a bag. Like if you get 4 sticks in a bag and you go through one of them every 8 months, that's not. Oh, juniper. Merissa has the exact person's location, like his store, but he's on Etsy, and maybe she can comment his name or whatever. But we try to go through Etsy and for all of our incense and stuff like that, because usually you can find like ethically sourced and people who are actually really concerned about making sure it's sustainable or ethically sourced or organic or whatever, or used for ritual purposes, which tend to be people who have more seriousness about being mindful about not using too much or using it only for ceremony or for cleansing sacred space and whatnot, not just like using it for body wash or something, which is fine, but you don't know me. You guys get the drift. Okay, so some of you may recognize Voyager Tarot. I'm going to use tarot first to ask the first question. And let me just go up a little bit here. I have comments. Okay. All right, so just give me a moment here. This is for Kelly Bauman. He needs to have a talk with her husband. Okay, Kelly, I got 9 of, oops, let me see if you can see this. This is his version. This is James Wanless's version of 9 of Swords. And I tend to be an intuitive reader, but I'm going to go off of my memory here of what I remember in Rider-Waite. I think 9 of Swords is anxiety, the woman in bed with swords. This is 9 of Crystals. His version is more of like, it's narrowness. And so maybe you might need to think outside the box a little bit, or use something other than your mind to when you do talk to him. Maybe if you could do some kind of, and this is where the intuitive part comes in, because I'm hooked into some spirits right now. Because this is a crystals card, which is crystals is of the mind, and this is saying narrowness of the mind, I'm thinking that the antidote or the answer that will help you get to the answer when you talk with your husband is to get out of the mind space before you talk to him. Kind of, prepare yourself. Not like it's not a big deal, but just maybe do something meditative or energy work, yoga, something to get out of your mind and into your heart, whatever that is for you, before you speak with him. Because I think if you stay in your mind only when you talk to him, it's just not going to go the way you want it to. And maybe something might get missed. So I would consider that. So like, any of these kinds of energy work or even yoga or stretching or qigong or meditation or even just what we just did with burning incense and just deep breath. Let's say you don't have time to do anything before you talk to them. Just a few deep breaths and just really center into your heart. Maybe visualize a flame inside your heart that's burning, full of support and connection, like a nice, comforting fire for you, so that you feel supported when you go into conversation with him. So I hope that was helpful. Merissa, I have proper energetic boundaries and cleanse these rituals to offer the new for services I want to introduce. Okay, so this is from Merissa. So I'm going to use, and if you guys want another reading and you want me to, before I go into this, I have Oracle, Doreen Virtue's Goddess Guidance, and yes, I know. This is the only deck I ever liked of hers, okay? Even before she came out as like being Christian, whatever she is now, I was never that impressed with Doreen Virtue except for this deck. This is the only deck I liked first. So there, caveat. But this deck is really good. I think it's a good Oracle deck. Another Oracle deck you can get before you can get a reading from with me right now is the Spirit of the Wheel. This is for like, I use this on my Etsy store for animal spirits. And it's by a Native American, so. Okay, sorry, I interrupted a little bit there. I'm going to get back to Merissa. Marissa's question about offering services, having the energetic boundaries, and cleansing rituals to offer new services. Yeah. And if you want to ask, the same question again or a different question, and you want an oracle card, let me know from one of the other decks. Oh, guess why I have a big smile? Poker. This is the opposite of a poker face. Merissa, bada bing, universe. You know the answer to that. You can't get any better than that. I'd say bada bing and go for it. Go, girlfriend. I mean, I can't tell you, there's nothing to say except thumbs up. I don't want to even, not only are you ready, it's go for it. You've got the cosmos and the army of helping spirits behind you, 100%. Bravo, brava. That's a short one because that's the best card. Okay, let me see. And feel free to, if you want to ask me, the same question again with a different deck, that's fine. Let me see. Sorry, I have to page down here a little bit. Several Etsy suppliers. You can find one that ships close to your home? Yeah, what I might do after the live stream today is I'll try to find out the name of the shop, and I'll try to post it in the comments about the juniper. And just remind me, if I forget. Oh, I'm so glad it's helpful. Oh, you like the deck and still use a couple of her decks? Yeah, I know. I know she's a controversial figure right now. You know, a lot of people have opinions about her. I had opinions about her before she ever, you know, had her announcement to the world about, not believing in this stuff anymore. Okay, so I don't know if I missed anything. 'Cause I'm paging down a little bit. Let me just show you if anybody wants to ask a question from the. Let me show you the Spirit of the Wheel deck, because what I wanted to do is tell you a little bit. My Etsy store is really new, and I have it linked in the comments. But I'm not new to tarot, or readings, but my store is, and so I've only got one thing up there right now. But it's kind of it's a good symbol of kind of where I come from, what kind of angle I come from in terms of readings for people that I enjoy doing, and then I think is a little bit different than some people in that it's a nice mixture of like tarot and oracle. There's a little bit of animal spirit thrown in, which gets you connected to the earth a little bit more, because I think what we really need in our society right now is more. Even if, like, for example, I'm inside, you're inside, or maybe you're, near your phone somewhere, we're not out in the wilderness. But yet we have these cards that can kind of engage our consciousness to kind of be in that space. And that's what I've realized that I was really excited about getting back into tarot and oracle. And I think even the oracle is a little bit better for like that kind of earth-based feeling. Like, for example, here's Stone of the Ancestors. Let me see if you can see this. And Higher Good, Guidance, and Choice. And plus, it just depends on what you gravitate towards oh, you like the Spirit of the Wheel too. Cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure how popular it is. I think it's the woman who did it, I think I think she's First Nations or Métis or something like that in Canada. So, but like here's, the polar bear, the Great Star Nation. And for you, whoops, let me do that. There we go. For you people who, well, you could like Nordic things. The bear is associated with Nordic things, and the bear is associated with the great, is it Arcturus, I think? And or Ursa Major. And if you're into Star lore, and I'm just pulling a few of the cards here. I like, this is actually an animal, a spirit animal that I merged with today before coming online here today, and it's probably a panther, but the jaguar. Leadership, self-discipline, psychic abilities. And I think, you see so many popular people trying to talk about animals online. And my theory about that is like, it's people's way of trying to re-engage with something we used to do thousands of years ago, which is we had animal spirits that guarded our family and our ancestral lines. It's not just a thing in one country or another. I think it's pretty much worldwide, you know, and and that goes for also plants and stones. So, okay, we've got a question. I'm wondering if my relationships with my ancestors will become more obvious to me. Something's missing. I'd like to know what that is. Could help. I used to be able to feel them, but something is different is removed. Okay, so to a different house. Okay, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna do tarot with this one because I feel like it's probably a better. Sometimes tarot is good for like first answer to the question, and then the oracle can kind of like, I don't know what you guys think about that, but sometimes the oracle can kind of add on to it or give you some more insight or whatever. Okay, so okay. Some of what I'm doing too is mediumship as well. So like I'm already getting a little bit of information right now before I even pick her card. Wow. Okay. Well, this is a great card. You got the strength card, but I think I'm going to go off, and I should say, I'm going to go off the initial thing that I was getting while I was shuffling and thinking about your question. And I was sort of seeing a house. And what I first felt was, I don't know if you're already gardening, but maybe setting up something. You don't have to set up a garden per se, but maybe if you can bring in some kind of plant to your altar for your ancestors to feed it. If you're not already doing that, there might be a specific set of plants, or maybe just one or two plants that they need to kind of strengthen their connection with you. Because I'm getting that they're connected to you, but oh, bamboo. Okay, that's good. Now, what I like bamboo, but I saw something green too, like leafy. But maybe does bamboo have leaves on it? I don't know. I've always seen the reeds, so um, maybe that's what it is. I think what I'm seeing that's kind of green is maybe rosemary. I think maybe rosemary. Uh, Maybe a rosemary twig, even if it's just a really tiny. If you just buy a small rosemary from somewhere cheap, and just get a fresh sprig of rosemary. And okay, so the bamboo plant does have green. I don't know. Those are the two things. I did see something green. So okay, great. Stick with rosemary and bamboo. I would do some kind of like offering to them as as frequently as you can, whether it's in your house. I think you probably already have an altar set up to them, I'm guessing, because I kind of know you. So I'm just assuming you already do. Um, and even if you don't, just like a little area where you can just, you know, have it for them. And then maybe put the pieces of the offerings out there for them, and then maybe have another piece of each one. Um, Maybe burn a little bit of it. Well, not the bamboo because I don't think you can do that, but um, the rosemary you can burn a little bit, and you try juniper too. I think you should actually. Those three, I would stick with those three. And so, okay, yeah, you already have. I figured you did, which is great. Um, and I think if you're already doing all that stuff, let me know. I mean, if you're still having trouble, that's just I. My go-to, and so is Marissa's on this, is when people ask about their ancestors. My go-to is offerings, but it'll take different forms. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard. The hard part is figuring out which form it's going to take. You know, um, but that's where the divination comes in, like trying to figure out, um, you know, uh, what that is. So yesterday I dressed a candle with mugwort lavender. Oh well, that's good too. Yeah, the only thing I saw, because I was actually able to see something, and I was able to see something with Kelly's discussion with her husband a little bit, her heart and getting, but that's where doing these readings is a little more mediumistic. But with you, Latanya, I think I did see a very distinct green. I think it was the rosemary, um, and but mugwort and lavender and bay, those are great too. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those. So, um, very sturdy and all-purpose, and you know, protective, because also ancestors always want to have protection with them, and you know that. So, um, awesome, cool. I hope that helps. I appreciate the. Thank you for saying you've benefited from my mediumship gifts. Yeah, it's nice to be able to help people. Um, Especially, I don't know about you, but I'll be a little bit forthcoming about this. For a long time, I wasn't able to appreciate my gifts because they were being used against me, basically. Um, I don't mean that like, a specific person was doing this. I just mean my gifts were out of control, and they were, it was a bad situation. Long story short, I'm thankfully, I still have, issues where I need to correct things, but at least now I have some tools to, help myself when something like that happens, or if I need to ask for help from other people, at least I have an idea of what's going on, sort of. And I mean, I may not know exactly how to solve the problem. Frequently, I don't. But when I do know how to solve the problem, at least I can take action on it. And I think that's something I've been thinking about a lot globally with just everyone in general, especially people who are empaths or psychic or who are into tarot, even if they're not interested in shamanism or animism or any of those things. They still want to have sovereignty over their gifts and to be able to like help their lives and their communities' lives get better. And I think that's where using a variety of things, like in a respectful way, of course, that's where learning animism and shamanism is helpful. That you know you can work with your tarot decks, and then you can turn around and do journeying, and then you can turn around and work with your ancestors, and then you can turn around and go outside and you know do an offering for a blessing for rain, or pray with sacred tobacco for a healing for the planet or for a person. And all these things, they sound very different from each other, but yet they're all part of what a lot of many of our ancient ancestors did all the time in a lot of different areas across the planet. And these are all important things for us to learn, are part of like a circle of continuity, um, that I think might just be the answer to like living, like continuing humanity's existence on the planet. Um, so I shouldn't laugh about that because it's very serious, but sometimes, um, learning to control your gifts is an awesome accomplishment for any empath. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and by no means, I mean, I'm. It's funny. Every time I think I'm like everything is fine, something else happens, and it's usually. But it's. I don't want to say it like the shoe drops. It's not nearly as bad as it used to be, but it's not perfect. And for perfectionists uh, and impatient people like myself, sometimes it's frustrating. But anyway, I'm interested in shamanism. What books would you recommend to get started learning? Okay, that's a good question. Uh, I don't know the name of the book, but I would recommend um, Michael Harner's books, because he's kind of like the guy that brought in core shamanism, but he's based it on his research in the, I believe, the 50s and 60s with indigenous peoples and traditional societies. What you want to get is, in my opinion, and this is something I'll probably need to do a video on at some point, is no matter what you look for in teachings in shamanism, whether it's, traditional or core shamanism, which is based on other things, you want to try to get somebody. They don't have to be a native person per se, but it's really good if you can get an author or a speaker or an educator, whoever, who has studied with a traditional, somebody who knows traditions. So, like, for example, myself and Merissa, we both studied with somebody who studied with Karo, traditional Karo people. We've both taken classes with a traditional elder from Nepal. This is what you want to look for, like books. I can always recommend our Dr. J.E. Williams. I think you should read Light of the Andes because, and Latanya, I think you'd like it because he kind of writes the book as if it's like it's almost like a travelogue, like a spiritual travelogue, but it's also full of the experiences that he had with the mountain spirits and the Karo people and the coca leaves and how that's woven into reciprocity with the earth. And so those, yeah, J.E. Williams, yeah. Light of the Andes is the name of the book. Or the Andean Codex. He's written 2 books that are quite good. And he puts a nice little glossary in the back so that if you don't know any of the terms, which, I didn't know, most people don't, you can look them up in the back real quick and, it's very clear. I actually did a post a couple years ago on Facebook of 20 books about shamanism. So why don't I try and find that post I did? Because there's a bunch of different ones. There's a woman named Barbara Tedlock. So I would put Barbara Tedlock, Tedlock, Woman in Shaman's Body. That's a great one. I know I'm forgetting ones that are really awesome that I use all the time. But there's a lot of different shamanism books that branch off into different areas. Like there's ones about plant spirits, and there's ones about, sacred sites, and then there's ones about like, shamanic journeying specifically, or, stuff like that. So it's a bit like any other subject matter where it gets subheadings, get created. So depending on what you're interested in. Oh, okay, good. So what I'll do is I'll try to remember the Etsy store with the juniper, and I'll try to post that 20 shamanic books that are that I thought were kind of interesting. So hello, thank you. Does anybody have any questions, or I didn't do the goddess guidance or the spirit of the wheel. I don't know if anybody wants a oracle card from there. This is the spirit of the wheel deck. And the goddess guidance, he's got like, all sorts of different people. Ishel and Athena and Bast. And I used to use this deck. It's kind of funny. I pulled this deck out of my boxes of stuff that I haven't used in like 10 years. And I literally have not, the first time I did a reading with the Goddess Guidance deck in about 12 years was yesterday. And I think the first card I pulled was Bast, which is the cat god, the Egyptian cat goddess. Oh, the name of the first deck, well, let me just show you all 3. Okay, this is the tarot deck called Voyager Tarot, and it's by James Wanless. I can't get that straight. There you go. He made it, I think, in the late 80s, and it's really cool because it's like he uses photo collage, and it's very positive, and I mean that in a non-toxic way. You know, it's very encouraging and empowering. I think he based some of it on, he based some of it on traditions around the world, indigenous traditions, but he also based some of it on like cosmology and also science, and he's kind of a multi eclectic kind of guy, and he's still with us. He's got a Facebook account. He's an interesting guy. Spirit of the Wheel was the other oracle deck I mentioned. Um, and then, of course, the Goddess Guidance oracle cards. But if you guys are interested in a reading with me, I have the Etsy shop, and I think the link is uh, on in the description. It's called Earth Empath Tarot, and I've got basically a work reading there now. It's like it's almost like a divine purpose, job, career kind of reading, where it's a tarot card that's for the reading that you get, and then you also get an additional oracle card from the animal spirit uh, realm, so that you get kind of an idea of what kind of animal spirit energies are going to help you with your question. Oh, Goddess Guidance card. Okay, somebody wants that. Awesome. I don't know your name, but I'll be thinking of you right now. So while I do this. Okay, Goddess Guidance card. I'm going to call you Star Lady. Oh, Dory. Okay. Because you had a cute little star there. Okay, Dory. Wow. Athena, you know what to do. Trust your inner wisdom. And I also think of Athena being very, very tied to the animal kingdom too. And that's not just physical animals, that's animal spirits. So I wonder if I don't know if you are an animal lover, but there might be an animal spirit from your family. In this case, you know, you can see the owl, but there might be an animal spirit from your family that wants to be more present in your conscious mind, you know, because I think these spirits are always in our subconscious, because we have memories of what our, I don't know if you've ever heard about epigenetics and all that stuff, but, you know, if bad stuff can come down from our ancestors, why can't good stuff, right? So the good stuff from our ancestors in many areas is also, you know, this ability to receive guidance and protection and wisdom and healing from the animal spirits that were affiliated and are affiliated with your family line, or uh, with your, even with it could be even with your home. You know, it doesn't always have to be just your genetic, you know, line. But I think in whatever you're going through right now, whether it's personal or professional or relationship wise, this is very much about doing your own inner work and contemplating in a centered space what's right for you first. You know, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying, you know, step on people, but you know what I mean? Just think about what it is that you want to do first, and then, you know, approach the external. Oh, good, you have dogs. Excellent. Yeah, so that makes a little. Sometimes when we have the actual pet, like or a pet in general, it does help us kind of um, because they have spirits as well with them while they're living, and even after they pass on to the other side, it is a little more tangible. But I mean, I haven't had a pet in like you know a long time, and I can still work with the animal spirits. So you don't have to have a pet, but there is that kind of vibrant energy you can get from dealing with your pets on a regular basis. But yeah, I'd say whatever it is you're, I don't know if you're struggling with anything, but whatever it is you're thinking about, um, consult yourself first, and maybe an animal spirit maybe you could light a candle to ask an animal spirit. I think it's a bird in this case. I'm not sure if it's an owl, but it might be maybe you could ask the candle when you light it and blow into your candle and just say, if you could make plain to me, either in my dreams or in everyday life, however you receive information, which specific bird or animal spirit wants to work with me to help me stay centered and in my own empowerment. That's a possibility. Oh, it's a hawk. Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you have some dogs here. So, oh, it's a hawk. So you already know. Okay, great. Yeah. Maybe light a candle to your hawk. Um, um, but yeah. So trust your inner wisdom. Take appropriate action without delay. Um, but for me, even though she says that on the card, take appropriate action without delay. Yeah, but in order to do that, you have to center yourself first, and you're not going to not do anything, but you need to kind of figure out what it is that you want first, and then take action. You know. So, hope that was helpful. Um, thank you, Dory. Thank you, Latanya. Thank you, Merissa. Thank you, Kelly. Um, I think, yeah, it's about. I mean, I could go a little longer if anybody has, any other questions or if anybody wants to. Oh, okay. And then I'll probably wrap it up with this. I had a surprise visit in my dream last night from. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't. I've never heard of the albino eagle, but my surprise when I googled it, I found that they do. Wow. Would you pull a card from the Spirit of the Will to see if it had? Oh, of course. Yes. That's really fascinating. It's always fun, like talking with other people, and this is one of the great things about everyone poo-poos technology, and yeah, it's got a lot of bad sides to it, but look at what it's doing. We can all talk to each other about this stuff in real time, and it's kind of cool. Because I didn't know that either. I didn't know about an albino eagle. I've never even heard of that. So here's the spirit of the wheel, and we're going to find out. Let's see what. Okay. All right. So I kind of knew this would happen when I was shuffling. I was like, I bet you $5 I'm going to shuffle these cards, and she's not going to get a card with an eagle on it or a bird. Sure enough. So it's not always a one-to-one relationship, but however, we're talking about this is not a literal thing here, as you all know, and It's more of a, what's the message, right? So you have south. Let's see if I can make this so you can see it. There we go. So you have a direction south, and you can see there's a wolf and I believe either a cougar or a panther of some sort. So a cat family and a wolf. Lessons, growth, and trust. And what I'm going to do first is, and I do this on my readings online as well, is she has prayers that for each card, and I want to read the prayer for this. Spirit powers of the South, teach me to love and grow through the gentle fires of compassion. Help me to learn to trust in Great Spirit's plan and to view life's lessons with the understanding that my mind, heart, and spirit are one. So I think maybe even though you had the eagle in there, which is, I would say the eagle also was in your dream was also a messenger from the upper world, and that maybe the technique, or I don't want to say technique, but like the way that you can overcome any fear, if you have fear about anything right now, is to engage the wolf and the cougar or any kind of cat family um, in terms of connection, to feel grounded on the earth. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like candles are really good for you too. And, whatever magic you already do with candles, maybe just add some of these animals into the mix as spirit guides and call on them for specific issues that you have recurring, either distrust or fear or conflict. It doesn't even have to be fear. It could be like some kind of conflict or something, um, or just any kind of disease, not disease, but dis-ease. Anything that doesn't feel easy. You know. Because I think what the trust is on the card for you today is about building a relationship with these guys and the eagle too. So I think maybe it's like I came to you in a dream, the eagle said, because I want you to work with me. But first, before you work with me, work with these guys first. You see what I'm saying? Because they're in a lot of cosmologies, the birds tend to be in the upper world, and these guys usually tend to be either middle or lower, but at least middle. So when you look at it that way, maybe just, I think that's what the albino bird is trying to say right now. So give that a try, and I hope that makes sense. Oh, okay, cool. Just let me know in comments if anything I said like doesn't make sense, or if you like if you have questions or whatever. You guys have been really great, and I really appreciate Latanya. Thank you so much for letting me do this, and I look forward to seeing everyone else's live streams. And this is a really great group that's here, and I think it's full of people who actually have a multifaceted interest in not just tarot but also witchiness, and there's a lot of parallel common ground between witchcraft and shamanism. They just come at it sometimes from different perspectives, but there's a lot of similarities there. I mean, they're still different people, but you know what I mean. Thank you guys, and thank you, Latanya, and I look forward to talking to you guys again. Okay, thanks a lot.